Welcome back to the WGLEU. We are getting to the final points of this day's games of Super Week. We've been having quite the barrage of games this week, and we've had some very good results. But today it's been a little one-sided, a little bit decisive, let's say. 5-2s all around, and now Tornado rocks against Utopia. Do you think we're going to stick true to trend?
I think so. I mean, we were very close to getting 3 of the same results on the same side. I want to get that, like, connect 4, connect 3, connect whatever.
Connect 3, we'll go for connect 3.
Connect 3 is fine.
It's like tic-tac-toe.
Exactly. So, I mean, Tornado Rocks, realistically, they're at a level where they can beat Utopia 5-2, and Utopia can also pick a couple of rounds of Tornado Rocks, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was that scoreline.
I completely agree. So, as you can see, map-wise, we have Ruhenberg, Himmelsdorf, and then Ruhenberg again. Maps you've never seen before. We like to keep it fresh here, but no, it's, of course, just the mainstays. People get used to it, as you said. They are the safest bets in the map pool. No one wants to get risky at this point, because this is when it does get down to crunch time in the rankings. You know, these teams go head-to-head almost every week. Not the same teams, of course, but we're getting towards the later part of the season now where things start to heat up, and being in that top 6 really does matter. Now, Utopia's fighting to stay in there, whereas Tornado Rocks, well, they're fighting for that top 2 spot. They're currently, I believe, in 2nd, and they're doing pretty well, to be honest. I've been quite surprised and quite impressed with their performance.
Really good. I said, you know, last time they played, they came out of that relegation spot. You know, they actually got relegated out of the Season 5 after losing the relegations. A lot of relegations in there. And then they came back in the Open Qualifier and have done so well in this season so far. Been super impressed by them. Really a mainstay powerhouse Polish team, especially on the maps like Ghost Town. And I think, you know, we can definitely expect more from them from the future, and I wouldn't be surprised if they qualify for the finals as well.
Oh, me neither. Me neither. I'm in exactly the same boat. But Melly, now, these few teams, I know both of them have a decent fan base here. I know a lot of people want to get their opinions through to us, and you're ready and waiting, aren't you?
And that absolutely shows the current state of the vote. The vote is already open, and people, if you haven't voted yet, head over to facebook.com/WGLEU to get involved. Vote for your favorite team, and then predict the exact scoreline of this matchup in the text field below to get your chance of winning bonus codes. Currently, it's 58% for Tornado Rocks, which isn't much. It's just an 8% difference, and the first 12 votes, actually the first 12 entries, are 5-2s.
Okay, so they're believing in the trend. They're having faith, even though the votes are close. You guys think it's gonna be a 5-2? That's hey, what do I know? What do I know?
We don't know anything. People at home, you're the guys, you're the brains, you're the swarm intelligence. And if you have anything else to say, head over to Twitter and use the hashtag WGLU to get your questions through to us. I'll ask our experts on some of the questions I can also answer. So I'll probably tweet you back if I know the answer. But yes, Ollie, our Tanctionary.
That's good, actually. I like
That's
that
not bad, yeah.
Not bad. Good.
I'm proud of myself. I'm very proud. No, I like it. I like it. Tanctionary. Tanctionary in the Twitterverse.
You're making up a lot of words today, Melly. Like, there's a lot of words that are coming out.
Neologism.
Knowledgeism?
Neologism.
Oh, okay.
That's like the creation of words.
Yeah.
That's a big word. I don't know that one.
You know,
I'm
like
a simple person.
Natal, when you're, you know, like, neo means to make, something like that.
Oh, stop.
Neo is new.
Yeah, like new, but it's Latin, isn't it?
Huh?
I think it's Latin.
Yeah, it's Latin.
Anyway, back to the game.
That's
my part.
Tornado Rocks versus Utopia, Melly. Take it away.
58%
You cast it.
to 42. Me casting, I did that on Gamescom with a different game, which I have almost no knowledge in. Went perfectly well. I was just shouting names and hyping up people, and they kind of responded positive to it. So maybe.
Nice.
It's kind of what I do, to be fair. It works perfectly. Just say it loudly and with enough conviction, people will believe you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway, on that note, let's get ourselves talking about the first map, Ruhenberg. It's something we've seen a lot today, but do you think we're going to see the similar 3-1 result coming out?
Yeah, I think Tornado Rocks are super solid on Ruhenberg. It's actually been their favourite map this season, one of their favourites apart from Himmelsdorf. 65% winning ratio all round. Ooh. Very solid team on this map. I mean, a 2-2 scoreline wouldn't be totally unsurprising either.
That's the standard.
But this should be Rocks' game.
It should be. Let's find out what they can bring into this game, as they will be starting out on the attacking side, the side that often you see going down 0 rounds very quickly to 2 of the other side. So if they come out and get even 1 round on this, it's a good performance so far. But let's see what they have, as Utopia will be defending. So what do we see so far?
Yeah, and this is Utopia's map as well. So it could be their one to prove us all wrong on. So we have a standard defensive lineup from Utopia, pretty standard attacking lineup from Tornado Rocks. No MX 1390, so north push unlikely. T54 AMX 5100 going to the right side. No blind shots at the beginning from Tornado. Getting control of that 0 line pretty confidently, with the knowledge that Utopia aren't there because of those initial spots. But Money is heading down that 0 line with the IS-3 now. And
we've been seeing a more common trend of later taking of the 0 line, not heading straight down, which may work out here for Money. We'll find out very soon. He has been spotted, of course, does get a glimpse of Negative as well. But the IS-3s for Tornado Rocks are heading towards the cap circle. Positive in the background, backing up Negative, and Money could be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, Positive has been absolutely on point, but Negative just gets charged down, 755 HP, taken off that T54, but Money also has to retract.
Yeah, Money needs to be careful, but as does the Annihilator. Utopia are keeping this toe-for-toe right now. Money's the only one to receive a little bit of damage here. The fire's certainly been coming in from the Utopia side. As the cap does begin, it gets wound up and started. The IS-3s, the 5100s in the background supporting it. 30 seconds left. The Annihilator gets, well, annihilated already. He's down to almost a one-shot, 270 HP here. Hunter and Bishu are the ones providing this damage so far. And this is a great start actually for Utopia.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Ruinberg is all about the IS-3, and that's what Utopia has. Just great IS-3 players. They've only lost 1 defensive round so far this season. They've played a total of 7 and a total of 14 games altogether, 14 rounds altogether. So they really are a great team on the defensive side of Ruinberg. It's not a massive accolade to have, I have to say. I mean, being good at something you should be good at. But anyway, Volsic gets absolutely annihilated down to 1 shot and does fall.
Shock gonna pick that one up with a smile, and this is going very well for Utopia, keeping things in check and even denying one of these rounds on the attack for Tornado Rocks is perfect. A 1-for-1 exchange goes through, but Utopia are maintaining so much more HP currently. 5.2k to the mere 3.3. This is a great start for these boys and exactly what they need. And Hunter lines it up, not going to get the shot he wanted towards Zik, but Positive found Money in the background. And maybe Tornado Rocks aren't done just yet.
Yeah, but you know, Utopia have that F line, which is so important. They can get the resets from multiple angles, which is exactly what they need. Papa does receive a shell from Zik, but you'll see Utopia constantly peak, constantly get the reset, and eventually take down Zik.
Exquisite play thus far from Utopia, really showing what you can do with good positioning and smart use of your timing, your shots, your position, your angles. And now Negative down to very low HP, 104. Papa comes in that LTTB. And now the T-37 over the other side of the map is just kind of watching on as Positive now outnumbered, surrounded, being folded in on by the rest of Utopia. They want this job done, and you can't blame them. Shock's going to be chasing him out here, just keeping tabs on, making sure he can't get away and do some nice little sustain. Those LTTBs are great at that as we play Ring of Roses.
Yeah, but a Positive will actually come on off reload before Shock, you can actually kill him. I'm not sure if he realizes that.
Well, he certainly realised now and tries to back away, does get taken down, but Papa now picks up the mantle, takes over. And already Papa's done a lot of work this game. I don't think he needs much more, but while all this happens, of course, the 5100s, the IS-3s are progressing further as Bishu held back 1 shell. He's going to get put into position, and there we go. Positive now down to 29 HP. Papa had the shot, but it's Muka to claim it, as now that T-37 is the last stand.
Yeah, game over for Tornado Rocks. Not a completely one-sided round, but fairly so. I mean, Utopia got the initial advantage and they just made it work for them. And, you know, well, as we said in the previous matchup, once you get that initial advantage on Ruinberg, it's actually very easy to win the rounds, and that's exactly what Utopia have done. And to be fair, no, I think we've underestimated Utopia to some degree. We've been saying, yeah, Tornado Rocks, blah, 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 they've been so good, they haven't lost a match for so long. But Utopia also very, very strong team, and you know they do actually have some the potential and a real possibility of winning this match.
Well, they've got off to the perfect start. Utopia picking up round 1. Now, you guys at home thought this was going to be a close game, and maybe that's what we're going to get. But still, that's 1 round that they should be winning. They are on the defending side. You would argue that that's a step in the right direction, but it's something that we've grown to expect by now. So let's break down what happened in that game, Ollie, because it just seemed that really Utopia held the better position throughout all of it. They won all their exchanges. It seemed quite simple.
Yeah, I mean, the first exchange was going towards the favor of Utopia, was that initial damage against negative. So McMoney in a really awkward position, you know, keeping the angles against these two IS-3s. You can see Zik and the Annihilator take the bait by shooting McMoney. That gives Hunters all the way in. Then they can get the reset. You also see now Utopia start to collapse in on the IS-3 and 5100 down south. They take care of them, and then you have 3 angles they can get the resets on. So it's perfect positions for you. For Rox. But quickly, I'm just going to, for Utopia, quickly going to run through the damage. 2.2k damage by Shuku there in the LTTP. It was an absolute beast. This is a tier 7. 1.6k by Maka, 1.5k by Hunterzord, and of course, Positive doing 1.7, the Annihilator 1.6, and Zik doing 1.4. So respectable damage from them. But then you got like the Armageddon doing 400. So you can see the kind of lower end of that damage table really having an effect on Tornado.
So now, Tornado Rox, what do they need to do to overcome just the superior position that just seemed to work in favor of Utopia? What do they need to do here?
Well, I think they need to, first of all, they need to have more than just a T-54 in that 0 line. They need to take down McMoney. They need to go for the engage, take him down with like a double AMX 1390. Have your IS-3s go into that eastern village to keep pressure on the 5100 and the IS-3s there so they can't get the side shots onto the tanks that are taking down the IS-3. Or the other option is just go up north, do like a Kansas style, just go really aggressive up north, and, you know, get the overmatch with the AMX 1390. Not Kansas style, Panther style, sorry.
So they have their options there. We'll find out what they tend to use in this one. Tornado Rox maybe a little lackluster in the first, as you said, maybe not taking that 0 line as poignantly as they should. So hopefully they can adjust off that and work off the back. The teams are almost ready, and we'll get this one started. Guys at home, still an opportunity to vote. Get your thoughts in, of course. Hashtag WGLEU. We love hearing from you. And let's find out what the teams have coming in for round 2 as we are ready for this one to start off. Utopia still on the defense, Tornado Rox on the attack. What do we see them going for so far?
So 5100s, IS-3s, standard stuff again. Double LTTP from Utopia, always nice. It worked out very well for them last time via Shuku's amazing damage. I don't know, I think this one's going to be interesting because you know, we often see 2 polar opposite rounds. Tornado Rox didn't manage to make that attacking round work, which leaves, you know, Utopia the option of maybe even getting their own attacking round. I think Tornado Rox needs to win this round, and they seem to be going for that same kind of tactic they were last time. Yeah,
only negative here again. We said maybe he should put a little bit more weight towards this. Money did work his way down a little later, and it looks like he actually might be doing the same again. So he seemed to have almost a mirror match here of how this one started to a degree. Maybe Tornado Rox can work a couple of issues out and fix on the fly, but already negative getting off to a better start this time by getting the first shell towards McMoney.
Yeah, but it's really of no consequence. I mean, yeah, nice little shell, but let's be honest, McMoney is such a powerhouse in the IS-3. Let's see what, I think the big question as well, you know, it's going to be a difference from the Annihilator and the Armageddon. Those two really need to have a better round because they just got absolutely wrecked last time. As McMoney does receive a couple more and he's in trouble.
Oh, this is much better. The Annihilator and Zik did put some attention there. The 5100 in the background as well is laying down shots towards him. He does have a shot to make, and no one's actually hitting these. There we go. Finally, Positive's the one to take him away from this. And the IS-3s now need to be a little cautious of that eastern village. This is a much better beginning for Tornado Rox.
Yeah, perfect beginning now. McMoney's gone down. That's obviously a big problem from last time. Hunterzord as well, receiving a lot of damage. So right now, Tornado Rox have the ability to go into that second cap. They got control of the 0 line. They got control of the middle. What they really have to be worried about is those IS-3s coming down from the half moon circle and also that LTTB from behind.
We're starting to see the fold. The Armageddon was aware of one, but will he be aware of Pupper as well? Swinging around into the action from that northern side of things. Shock's going to put himself into position, maybe try and slow down the other T-37 on the other side. But now looking at this is starting to get a little bit more even. But Utopia are dwindling on HP. Been taking a lot of these shots, and Shock is not going to win this battle here. He's a 2v1, and even the T-37 itself can take him down. Didn't need help there, but Utopia forced out position, forced onto the back foot. Can they recover from this?
It's going to be a very hard slog for them to do so. I think the one thing Utopia still have going for them is they got quite a few tanks in the eastern village, whilst Tornado Rox are pretty much all concentrated up that F line, which is not always the best position for them to have in a lot of respects. As you can see, the Mucker is winning a lot of these engagements. So I think I would predict Tornado Rox just to surge forwards a little bit more. Positive also onto Mucker.
Yeah, Vorsic now joining him as well. This should be quite a comfortable 2v1 here for them. Ideally not going to take too much damage, and they don't. Vorsic is a little low, though. He's got some fire coming in from the likes of Hunter and Wilk, but look at that. Negative, they're ready and waiting. Wilk and Hunter do have a shot to be made very soon, but Zik's not going to allow it. Great play from him, denying any further damage coming towards his teammates. The Annihilator's going to find Wilk, and now just Bishu standing, 63 HP, spotted, dealt with, swept aside, and Tornado Rocks equal it up at 1-1.
A clean round for them, not a single player falling from via Utopia, so, you know, really not something you can you know, sniff your nose at. Very impressive round from Tornado. You can see they went for exactly the same tactic as did Utopia, but they just made it work for them this time around. They took down McMoney, which is, of course, the biggest point, which gives them control over that eastern village. They played a lot more conservatively in that F line to make sure the LTTB can't flank them that easily. And yeah, I mean, getting this kill onto McMoney was huge.
And I love the further attention from the Annihilator and Zik as well. There was you know, 2 players at least keeping tabs on him, maybe even 4 if you include Negative as well. And there's so little to be done. You can see the amount of shots that came through. Positive in the end was the one to claim it, but that was a joint effort then from Tornado Rocks. Yeah.
Just quickly running through the damage, we saw Positive do 2.3k in that round with the MX 5100. That's what you expect when you have a pretty standard round when the 5100 is allowed to work. Vorsic, the highest damage dealer out of every Wargame League Europe player this season so far with 1.5. Zik with 1.4, and then for Mucka 1.8, 1.5, and 1.1 for Wicked and Hunter Sword. So not bad from Utopia. It got close in some points, but McMoney doing 0 damage in that IS3, something will have to change. As it is a 1-1 scoreline, which is good for Tornado.
It certainly is. We said that it wouldn't be too surprising to see them picking up at least 1 attacking round, which they've done. But now the pressure goes on to the other side of things. Utopia has to be able to do the same, otherwise it's that 3-1 scoreline. Do you think they are capable of doing this?
I think they have the possibility. I mean, Utopia's been a team that likes to play towards the eastern side. They're, you know, a strong team altogether. But I don't know, it looks like Utopia are at a position right now where, yeah, they have like a pretty good win ratio on the attacking side. 42% is actually good for...
That's very impressive.
It's good. I mean, the average is 33%, so they're already 10% ahead there.
That's very good.
Nice stuff from Utopia. They love the heavy tanks. They love the overmatches. Let's see if they can actually, you know, transition that into a win.
Well, we're going to find out very soon. I can see the teams loading in right about now. But this is the perfect opportunity for you guys to use that hashtag WGLAU. Let us know your thoughts on it. Get in touch. Do you like the game so far? How are they playing? You know, whatever's on your mind. Abuse Ollie or Melly or me. All is fine. We don't mind. But yeah, as said, Utopia do have a strong possibility here of maybe being able to pick up something on the attack. So keeping it as close as you guys at home predicted, which is highly impressive if you got this one right. Maybe Carmen's predictions are sinking in, and maybe you're starting to learn a little more than you should. I don't know. I'll have to keep tabs on you guys at home. If you get too good at this game, we'll have to hire you rather than Ollie. Anyway, into the game we go. Sides have been switched. Utopia are on the attack now. And on the defense is Tornado Rocks. Yeah,
so double LTTB from Tornado. Pretty interesting on the defensive side. Means that maybe a roaming squad is required. Similar to what Penta used with the T37 and the T37, the WZ131 and the LTTB. So they got the LTTB up and towards the north, obviously, for the spot. They don't want to sacrifice the tier 8 for that, as Wicked just goes straight towards that cap. Doesn't go in, so he doesn't give the game away too early on. But he does get spotted now. And he's got to be careful to get behind that defilade, to get behind that hill, and let the rest of his team kind of filter in from the south.
Yeah, this team are getting there slowly but surely. Those IS-3 certainly not known for their speed and agility, so it takes a little bit of time. But on the other side of it, we have the Armageddon and Zik both working down the 0 line. So they're putting 2 tanks here rather than just the one we saw previously for Utopia.
Yeah, this is a pretty standard tactic these days. You know, push the IS-3s down, get control of that 0 line to stop that cap from being able to be taken. So this is a good start from Tornado Rocks. As with Utopia, it really does depend if these IS-3s will be punished.
Well, so far they're not being punished all that much. Shock and Wilk are down extraordinarily low. Zik did take a shell and a little bit of damage towards the Armageddon. Another comes in. That's probably from Bishu or one of the boys in the background. Armageddon's going to actually put a shell towards them. And already, look at this flank coming out from Utopia, going around the back side here. This is very unique.
Well, we've seen this from Utopia before. This is what they like to do quite a lot. Vorsic does take down Shock, so you can see that tier 8 advantage going towards them. But still, you know, Utopia have good positions right now. They can get shots from the side. That's a problem. They got the IS-3 down the F line. But, you know, this could work for them as long as Bishu stays alive.
Well, he's teetering on the edge, though. 428 HP. He's not exactly in the best shape possible, but No further shots going in. The IS-3 not landing that down the F-line. Kind of fortunate for Bishu, but Papa's been caught out. A lot of fire comes in, focused towards him, and we've almost had a bit of a switch up here of how the map plays out. Tornado Rocks now on the other side of it, and Utopia looks like they're the ones on the defense.
Yeah, too aggressive from Papa, actually peeking in a position he didn't necessarily need to, but Forsic as well, maybe making the same mistake, has to back out with only one shell left in the autoloader. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Utopia just try and get the angles and wait for Tornado Rocks to come forwards and do as much damage as they can when they do.
Because they have to make the move. That's the fact here. They are going for the cap in the north, but the LTTB can swing around this city side and do what he wants. But here we go. Zik's going to find money, take him down. Brilliant work from Zik. Consistency seems to be his biggest favor right now, as Bishu, Muka, and Hunter have to keep this one held together. Hunter, one of the superstars, just gets pinned down by the Annihilator. That's another comfortable pickup for Tornado Rocks, leaving only 3 alive. And this crossfire, these shots coming out from the Tornado Rocks boys is absolutely beautiful. Bishu did stay alive, but to absolutely no end. Tornado Rocks pick up round 1 on their defending side, putting it a 2-1 scoreline so far. And that was quite ingenious from Utopia to a degree. They got behind them, they got the village, but they lost so much getting there.
Yeah, they lost a lot of damage getting into those positions. Of course, Bishu went low. You also saw the T-54s go low. Yep. Of Shokyu, 5100 didn't do much. Papa kind of died for no reason and only doing 305 damage. And the thing is, you know, once Utopia were in that position, they didn't do anything with it, really. They allowed Tornado Rocks to get from the IS-3 from the 0 line, the IS-3s from the 0 line, excuse me, push down and actually engage onto those IS-3s of Hunter Sword, McMoney, Mucker, and Bishu, who are in the not the best position in the world. It's kind of awkward to play, especially when Tornado has control of the F-line with the IS-3 and later on the LTTB, because it can make good shots into their side.
Yeah, a couple of really poignant issues showing for Utopia, sadly. Already down to 5.1k by this point, so certainly not the best of positions to be in. But they had to make a play for it. They did pick up that 1 round on the attack, so they get that buffer zone. So, excuse me, they did get, you know, they thwarted that. So they get at least a little bit of a buffer here. But going forward, did they show enough of their attack to be kind of backed in this, or do you still think Tornado Rocks has that upper hand?
Yeah, I think Tornado Rocks has the upper hand. I mean, the thing is about Ruinberg is that you either win amazingly, where it's always close on the attack, or you just get crushed on the attack. And, you know, Utopia pretty much were right on that border. I think they got pretty crushed there. So it's always unpredictable. It's a very risky map. We'll have to see if Utopia like to go for that northern side this time around, try and catch out Tornado Rocks. And, you know, if Tornado Rocks make the right call, you know, are they going to think, okay, is Utopia going up north? What are they going to do? What option are they going to go for? And if they guess correctly, it's going to be a 3-1 scoreline. Yeah,
and we've seen, every single time we've seen Ruinberg seeming to be a 3-1 so far today. I'm not sure if we're going to see it again. I think Utopia can stop it, and they can pull something off on their attack, but we'll have to wait and see if that comes through here. I am hoping they do it, because I'd like to see, you know, an even first map and then a nice close one on the second, maybe to find a winner. Going in at 3-1 already sounds like such a loss to be operating on. I find it hard to even imagine when the teams come back from it, but they do manage it somehow. It's quite impressive. Anyway, I think it's time to turn our attention to the game. The teams are ready. The tanks are locked in. And here we go. On the attack, it's Utopia. On the defense, it's Tornado Rocks. We're at 2-1 so far. Will we be seeing 3-1s all day long, or will the trend be broken? Ollie, what do we see so far?
Well, it looks like Utopia aren't gambling. They aren't going up north. And Tornado Rocks, of course, doing the same thing twice. You know, when you're playing the defensive side, you very rarely need to do anything out of the box. Something which definitely does help you as a defender. Being able to kind of hold every angle with a standard play is always very nice, not relying on a strange outlandish tactic to win. So, set up for Utopia on the right side, of course, you know, Tornado Rocks. They've got the Armageddon, they've got the Zik there again with the 2 IS-3s. They'll push forwards, they'll surge forwards. The MT-25 was just spotted. Shokyu might have just been spotted as well, but I'm sure Tornado will have a good idea that he's there.
Yeah, and there's a 1-for-1 exchange on fire so far. The MT-25 gets picked up very comfortably. Shock not taking too much damage at the moment, but the IS-3 is once again doing something similar. This looks like almost the same play here.
Yeah, it's just normal. I mean, let's be honest. Maybe just some execution was lacking from Utopia last time, maybe missing some shells, not being in the right position, not supporting each other. So doing the same thing twice like we've seen plenty of times today is not always a bad idea.
No, and this time it's working out much better. Papa will take down the Armageddon. Shock's still alive, and Utopia, even though they're trying the same thing twice, it is working out substantially better than prior, and this is what you're saying. It's not always a bad thing to do it. If it was just a problem with the execution, Zig doesn't have much covered sitting here, and those IS-3s are going to happily pick up this opportunity. He knows he's a sitting duck. He's going to be so cautious here. If he can get some damage done before he gets taken down, it'd be a bit of a miracle.
Yeah, a bit of a bad play there by Stick. He was aware that, you know, the Armageddon went down to back shots from those IS-3s in the middle, but he made the same mistake, took 700 damage unnecessarily, and that'll give Bishu the opportunity to take him down, bringing Utopia into a pretty comfortable position now. 2 tier 8 tanks ahead. Yes, they were sacrificed a lot of HP, but still, you know, it's not like Tornado's putting the pressure up from that eastern village onto those tanks that were shooting Zik and the Armageddon.
Yeah, so, well, 5 left for Tornado Rocks. Papa getting a little bit of attention here. 1-for-1 trading on shells so far, but Vorsic being caught out. 3 shells left for him to be able to be made into this game. He needs to be cautious here. He does have the Annihilator and Negative with him, but they need to start getting the damage back in towards Czech, get some of these tanks out of the game. They have the HP advantage, but numbers still with Utopia here. Cap is started. We're seeing as well at WZ131 being caught out down towards the south. 3 tanks now near him. He knows it's his swan song as Papa will put him to bed. And Tornado Rocks really low on numbers, down to 4 now. Yeah,
that was 100 million on the WZ131, so you could see how much damage it can potentially do. But still, yeah, I mean, Tornado Rocks again down so many tanks. Let's see if they can actually do anything with the tanks they have left and the HP that remains.
Well, they could do if Bishu keeps walking into a trap like that. Down to a 1-shot here, still in the game. McMoney as well, soaking up 1 for him, but Vorsic now on reload. Muka wants to exploit that, make it hurt. And the fire comes in from that F-line, not connecting towards Bishu either. Bishu gets 1 towards the Annihilator. And already Utopia starting to look good here. Maybe just doing enough to tip the balance in towards their favor. As Negative still holding on as well. Great shots coming in on the cross. Tornado Rocks 1 by 1 are being broken down.
Yeah, for sure. And Bishu should have fallen in that situation. That would have been a good move there for Tornado Rocks, so they managed to take him down. But Vorsic is going to come off reload now. And the thing is, Utopia should just push where Muka is. Just push down that line. Don't worry about the LTTB. Come on the flank, take down the Annihilator, and it'll be game over as Vorsic will fall in 1 shell.
Vorsic finally has shells available, but he's pinned in and he knows it. Shock a mile away, can't do much about that, but there's 4 tanks willing, ready, and waiting to do this. Positive, sitting pretty. Might need to get into this battle pretty soon. He's so far out of this one. A Shock on the flank could do so much work. He needs to get into the fight prior to Shock being able to do the damage.
And Hunter Sword was ready and waiting for Positive, one of the star players from Utopia. And you see Bishu gets the better of Vorsic, but the Annihilator responds onto Bishu. So it's a 1-for-1 exchange, but you can see Utopia now ahead in HP as well.
Massively so, and Negative's going so low here. He's down to nothing. He can be swept aside easily. Sure, Positive may be a factor, but he's not in the fight himself. And Shock round the back, doing 2.5k damage. But Money's going to find the Annihilator, and it looks like we will be seeing a 2-2. Things have changed around. Maybe this will be the close game we've been wanting all day, as now just Positive alive. Utopia doing what was necessary, doing what they needed here. And the final shell not going to be delivered by Hunter. And, well, Muka still has 591 HP. This shouldn't be able to be achieved.
Nah, it's not going to be achievable at all. Positive can get rammed to death by a 5100. So, yeah, it's game over. It will be a 2-2 scoreline going into Himmelsdorf. Obviously, the big adaptation there from Utopia was instead of pushing into towards that eastern village, they actually just went for the shots against Zik and the Armageddon, took them down, and, you know, some potentially bad individual play didn't help out Tornado Rocks, losing 1,000 HP onto Zik for no reason, 700 to 1,000. But anyway, good execution by Utopia, very close round indeed, and that's always good to see from Rurenberg having a 2-2 scoreline.
Yeah, Muka knows what's up. He's been keeping eyes on that for quite some time. I don't think Positive's position's too unknown. They are starting to hunt around Papa, the 5100. Might be on to get there first. He's keeping eyes peeled towards where Positive may be. 50 seconds still on that cab. Positive would have to make a move soon, but I think he knows this one's done here. As Papa's going to have the drop on him as well. That's the problem here. There's nothing he can do. It's time to just accept. Oh my god, how did he not land that one? But he does get the second attempt in the 5100. And we will have that 2-2 scoreline finally on Rurenberg.
Yeah, definitely we're underestimating Utopia right now. That was a solid attacking round. Just going in, being aggressive. They knew exactly what they did wrong in that previous round. They correct their mistakes. They went in with a level head and they took it away.
And it was almost exactly what we saw on the other side of things. We saw Tornado Rocks be able to adapt and get better, and now we saw the difference here as well with Utopia. They worked out what went wrong before, and they said, all right, let's fix that. Let's make our mistakes, turn around. And Zik got caught out there, and there was one other tank. Was that the Annihilator or the Armageddon with him?
The Armageddon.
The Armageddon as well got caught out too. So the two tanks that really did cause them so many issues, focusing them down straight away really helped. Yeah,
2 tier 8 tanks for nothing, basically. I mean, yeah, okay, a lot of damage, but again, it's about guns in the game. I think negative, the Annihilator and Vorsic could have potentially helped their teammates. They just let the IS-3s kill Zik and the Armageddon without really getting anything back. So these are kind of things that I think, Tornado should actually be thinking about. But quickly going through the damage, Shukyu again having an absolute storm of a game, 2.5k in the T54. Almost 2,000 from Hunter Zord, Papa with 1.6, and looking over towards Tornado, 1.6 and Positive, Vorsic 1.5, Vorsin these days, and the Annihilator with 1.5 as well.
Well, Tornado Rocks individually have no problems, but as a collective, we're seeing the Utopia can compete. So I think we're going to have finally a bit of a more close game here. Himmelsdorf coming up next, Melly. How are the votes doing? Because the guys at home knew this was going to be a close game before we did.
Absolutely. I mean, currently it's 60-40, and if already said 5-2 the first 12 or 15 predictions, but it changed after that. I think it's after the first and second round happened, and now it's getting closer and closer. So people, if you haven't voted yet, head over to facebook.com/WGLEU and get your votes in. Vote for your favorite team, just pick the team logo and then insert your predictions in that text field below the logos. Send off your vote and hope for the best. For next time, maybe getting involved a bit earlier isn't too bad of an idea, since the first 3 correct predictions will be considered in our bonus code giveaway, and those codes contain 500 gold and 8 days of premium. And I mean, the next map is Himmelsdorf. Rocks will start to defend, and let's see how it goes. Ollie, you're already so happy seeing Himmelsdorf, aren't you?
I'm super happy to see Himmelsdorf.
Super happy. So head over to Twitter and use the hashtag WGLEU to tell us if you're as happy as Ollie. So people, 5 minutes break, and hopefully see you back for Tornado Rocks versus Utopia on Himmelsdorf.
Welcome back to the WGLEU. Of course, we are into the final game of the day and what could be the final map. Tornado Rocks up against Utopia has been a little bit closer than we predicted. Currently sat at 2-2. Ruinberg wasn't as one-sided as I thought. You guys at home got it perfect. You got it on the nose. You said this could be a close game, and it is. Now, next map coming up, something brand new to our eyes. We've never seen it before. I think it's called Himmelsdorf.
Yes, it's the Hill Village we're seeing actually up next. Yeah, we're moving on to Tornado Rocks' map pick. Yep. Of course, you know, Ruinberg was Utopia's, and now it's Tornado Rocks' chance to show us what they've got, show us their mettle on this classic new map. Yeah, it is going to be Tornado Rocks on the defensive side, and to be fair, it's their favorite map. 22 rounds played this season, bang on 50% win ratio on both sides. Hardly surprising. Well,
it's a good one for them to try and close this game out on, but do you think they can get the win here, or are we going to overtime, do you reckon?
Well, I think as Utopia, also got a Himmelsdorf, 50% win ratio, especially good on the defensive side. Attacking side's a little bit lame, but it was just a super aggressive and strange with their attacking side. But
true.
I think, honestly, because of that attacking side weakness, as long as Tornado Rocks can take their own attacking side at least one round, it should be their match.
We'll find out. But Melly, if people want to get their final thoughts through, if they want to really quickly get that vote in, can they do so?
They should really hurry, because the vote stops as soon as the map starts, and which is like only seconds away. So head over to our Facebook page, you know which one. It's up here, and vote for your favorite team. Currently, it's still 60-40 since a solid time now. I think that's how the community has decided, and that's how it'll stick until the end.
Well, I think they've got their faith maybe in Tornado Rocks on Himmelsdorf. Maybe they're like, okay, we know it's going to be a close one in the first round or first map, but second map they've got this. And just list off the defining factors here on Himmelsdorf that you think might define these teams, because, as you said, Utopia's got a good stance here, so does Tornado Rocks. What will separate them?
I think, I think the defensive side for Utopia is slightly weak, slightly lacking. I think it's exactly down the middle for Tornado Rocks, which kind of suggests that they'll win one defensive round, one attacking round, or just both attacking, both defensive rounds. We'll have to wait and see. But typically, Tornado have been a little bit weak to really quick reactionary movements. Some of the individual players also a little bit weak in some respects, but we can see if they fix those problems in this next round.
Well, we are live into it right now. As we said, 2-2 was that previous scoreline. Let's see who's going to turn it into their favor. Utopia on the attack, Tornado Rocks on the defense, and already it looks like Tornado Rocks want to get some kind of control over the map, heading down towards the west and across the center of the map itself. Yeah,
so Wicked just going super aggressive. That MT25 wants to find out exactly where Tornado Rocks are going to go, and also make sure that the double 5100s of Tornado aren't pushing down the 1-3 line. So a bit of a stack from Utopia up onto the hill. Kopalika, someone did tell me how to say that, I just can't remember. He's going to be sticking up that 8 line. He's going to spot this whole push out from Utopia. Great information for Tornado.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. That's going to just light up any second now. 3 tanks spotted. Bishu takes a beating. 2 shells back to back. And he has to continue forward like nothing happened. But that certainly is going to sting, as Shock will have to take over leading the pack here. And even from the back, the 12T trying to get a couple of punches in, and look at this damage already coming through. Just a nice bit of damage caught off, and the Armageddon has to be careful here not to be caught out himself. He's going to tuck himself into the corner, and the crossfire is going to pay off. Shock takes a lot, and this is a great start for Tornado Rocks.
Perfect 8-line push counterplay, absolutely perfect. Utopia have literally walked in to the loving hands of Tornado Rocks' BL9s and AMX 5100. So I mean, really good start from them right now, and they're just going to continue forwards.
And they look so confident, and why not? Zik, Vorsic, the Armageddon, Positive, all lining them up here. Sure. Oh, look at this in the north, though. Here comes the cavalry. The 5100s are going to get into the battle here. Positive trying to hold back too. This could get messy. Zik and Positive swiftly deal with Money and Shock, so maybe they can turn their turret towards the others. Wilt goes down in the maelstrom, but Muka still keeping things in check here with Bishu taking down Vorsic. But overall, look at that HP. It's down to nothing. Utopia on the verge of slipping away here. And, well, it's going to be Positive to have the shell first. Who will he place it towards? The Armageddon found one. Papa goes down. And now Muka, eyed up by the Annihilator, looking to live up to that name, and he does so. Utopia gets swept aside. And Tornado Rocks with a brilliant bit of play.
Tornado just came across Utopia and absolutely obliterated them, you know, taking them away from that eternal happiness and putting them in the doldrums. Again, you know, that attacking side, the 8-line pushes from Utopia, definitely lacking, and you could see it just didn't come together for them at all from the very start. As soon as those IS-3s were spotted, it was already a loss for Utopia, but it was too late for them to return.
And the amount of damage just received so early on. There's 2 shells. He's already down to 736 HP. Shock takes over leading, and then the same damage basically comes in towards him again. And perfect start, as you said.
Yeah, and looking through the damage, positive 2,000, the Armageddon almost 2,000, Vorsic 1.5k, and then like Papa and Maka and Bishu just about hit that 1,000, 1,100 mark. So yeah, swept aside, nothing to say about that. I think Utopia just needs to be looking at, like, let's just try something a little bit more finesse, you know, a little bit more finite, and just try and, you know, not go straight into the SA-47s and the BL-9s. Just, you know, come from the hill, be aggressive, but be smart. Yeah,
maybe calm it down a touch. You know, don't just go hap-handedly into this one. You've got to be cautious. And we see that Himmelsdorf has slowed down a little bit. You know, at the very start of having this new game mode, it was quite quick, it was quite brutal. Now it's found a little bit of a maybe a more meandering pace, because there's a danger of that. You don't want to lose out so much so early on.
Yeah, and also the caps have been moved, so, you know, the whole thing changes where, you know, in the old days, the defensive side was like 60-70% bias, like Rurenberg on the defensive side, even worse than that. So you're like, yeah, I mean, if you're going to try and attack, you might as well just try it all in.
Get over and done with.
Yeah, exactly, get it all over and done with. It was super quick, and, you know, it was about that, like, really fine at execution and getting the focus fire perfect, so it was, yeah, a little bit quicker.
We'll find out. I know the teams are getting themselves ready here, but Ollie, score-wise, now we've seen the first round. Obviously, people at home can't vote anymore, but, you know, for the Twitter predictions, if they want to use that hashtag, what would you say we're going to see here?
Well, these two teams just look great. I mean, they really are a good match against each other. Yeah. It's been very superb from both of them. But again, you know, time and time again, we've seen this thing where the team who's picked their map does well, and then the other team comes back on that second map and manages to get it all even or go on to win it convincingly. So at the moment, after that first round, we can't say that much because it was just an all-in strategy from Utopia. It wasn't like a grind, you know, where they're going backwards and forwards, and there was a point where Utopia could have won it. There was a point where Tornado Rocks could have won it. It was always Tornado's game. Well,
let's see what Utopia do differently this round. Hopefully they do something differently, otherwise they could be in trouble. But they are still on the attack, as this is their second round on the second map, or the third match of the day. And Tornado Rocks on the defensive side.
Third match of the week as well, third match day of the week.
Very true. All the numbers coming out to play. And it looks like Tornado Rocks going to do the same thing, though. 12T get into position. And they're just going to wait it out, see what they do. But we're seeing a hill presence coming out this time from Utopia.
Yeah, so this is exactly what Penta did. You know, super aggressive on the hill, just going to push down towards the A7 area. And to be fair, Tornado Rocks have the two the AMX600 and the IS-3 there to deal with it, but really nothing else. And McMoney gets spotted out, so that's actually a quite nice play from Utopia. Tornado's like, okay, so there's one IS-3. Normally you don't leave one IS-3 on its own, so Tornado's thinking there must be something else supporting it, where of course there isn't, as they're all coming down from that hill.
Who will be the one to find out first? It might be the IS-3 on the cap, to be fair, at this rate. Podomako, Shock, Muka, Bishu, Papa, all heading through. Zik might have a very rude awakening very, very soon here. Already, though, it looks like Tornado Rocks are considering this. The spots have been made. The lights have just pinged on, and they know exactly where they're going. But how much damage can they cause? Muka taking a lot on the way through here. Already down to half HP in that 5100. Papa gets a little as well, but none dealt back just yet. Tornado Rocks playing this well, but can they keep this into control?
Well, they can actually get the overmatch onto Vorsic, the Armageddon. Really, if those two fall, it would be a 2-0 exchange, or maybe a 2-1, and that would be great for Utopia.
Yeah, and Zik as well taking far too much damage then. Down to 764 for really not much gained out of that one, but let's see how Utopia now bring this forward. What's their best chance here?
Well, Utopia just need to go forwards. They need to win those exchanges. You can see Tornado Rocks are actually up the D-line with most of their tanks now. If the exchange goes well for Tornado Rocks up this D-line, it'll be fantastic. But Wicked really starting to edge onto the Armageddon, doing some great damage to the MT25. You have, what, 189 roughly penetration. It's really fantastic against even the Russian tanks.
Yeah, and it's going to start being that nuisance, and the 12T going to have to try and go around and deal with him now. McMoney doesn't get the shot off, so it should be a pickup here. Will should go down, as he does. But now, let's turn our attention back towards the main battle. Zik's in trouble. He's in between a rock and a hard place. He can't really get out of this. Muka has headed even further north. And then there's Shock, Potomako, and Bishu waiting on the other side. I don't know what he can do here, but Tornado Rocks don't seem that flustered here. They're just saying, all right, guys, you can take this one road, and we'll just work around the back.
Yeah, that's the thing. Tornado are really in a good position with the IS-3s because they got support with the 12-ton along the 8 line, so they can use these two IS-3s just to whittle Utopia down.
And they're doing just that. Look at the HP, down to 4.8 already compared to Tornado Rocks on 6.9. That's massive in comparison. Now Vorsig's going to have a beautiful free shot here, maybe towards Potomako or Shock. I don't think there's anyone watching that if he does decide to take it. Cresting the corner here, Armageddon and Positive trying to be the linchpins. They've got the Armageddon in the background, excuse me, the Annihilator in the background, and this is going from bad to worse for Utopia. They're taking so much damage here. Shock and Papa left so low. Constant fire coming in. The Annihilator and the Armageddon both want a piece of the pie there, and that's going to be Bishu roasted. All alone, and look at this negative findsman money. Potomako into a corner, left alone, and this Vorsig comes in, takes him down. And this is another brilliant display by Tornado Rocks, not losing their cool, staying cool, calm and collected under the pressure of Utopia, and now just Muka alive. Yeah,
team captain Muka does fall to the Annihilator, just wipe him off the face of Himmelsdorf to bring Tornado Rocks to a 4-2 scoreline and onto match point.
How did it just spiral so badly out of control then? Utopia were leading that so well, at least keeping up, I'd say, on the first map, but now it's just Tornado's just gone, all right, we let you guys get a little close, you had fun, we're going to pick up 2 rounds back to back and just say goodbye. What's happened?
Well, I think what happened was that Utopia let themselves get surrounded. They had some good initial engagements, but I think the weakness was Zik, and they should have exploited him. Yes, the negative wasn't behind, but you could have actually just got the overmatch onto those two. But instead, Tornado Rocks just go into that middle courtyard, get in behind Utopia, get in behind those IS-3s, get the decaps. There's no decaps, but get into a position where if Utopia were capping, they could decap them. And, you know, Coppola takes down Wicked as well, so they got the 8 line. So there's all these kind of things coming to the equation. I think Utopia was going for the exchanges, going for the damage, when really Zik and that Northern cap would have been a better option for them as well. But the damage, 2.3k from the Armageddon, 2.3k from Positive, 1.1k from Zik. So clearly those 2 big IS-3s, which are playing the middle area, did the work they needed to do.
So now we have to weigh up the options of what's the chance of Tornado Rocks being able to pick up an attacking round? They just need 1 out of the 2 possible now to win the game. Their attacking results, what do they look like?
50%, straight down the middle, good attacking results, not too bad at all. It's exactly what the average is for the season for all the teams, 50%. Yep. No, 45 to 50%, so pretty even above average slightly. So I don't know, I think Tornado has a real chance here. They've looked so dominant here on Himmelsdorf. Of course, attacking is a completely different mindset.
I agree.
But right now, it's looking like a 5-2 scoreline.
It kind of is. Hopefully...
Don't curse it, Ollie. That what happens when casters say it too often. The exact opposite happens, and I only have to say it once.
Caster's curse.
True, caster's curse does
is a real
happen.
thing.
And there's
That's
just
a
Melee's
real
curse.
Thing. Yeah, mine strikes at first hit.
Yep. Too spooky for me.
Completely different kind of curse.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Because I'm not a caster, obviously.
Social media curse.
Oh yeah. She could cast
You're
Twitter.
making people vote for some teams, and then the exact
using
opposite
the
happens.
hashtag. Oh my God! Can you believe it? Simply sensational.
Brilliant.
Anyway, time for the game.
Good play-by-play.
Yeah, I finally made
the videos of it.
I'm really good at that. I think I've got talent. I might get a job. Who knows? Probably not. Anyway, I think the teams are ready. Let's turn our attention towards that and find out if maybe Tornado Rocks can close this one out. Hello, nice and quickly. See if they can get this one started. That caught me off. Apologies. See, I'm not professional enough to be a play-by-play caster. 4-2 is the scoreline. Tornado Rocks in the lead. On the attacking side now, can they pick up 1 round?
So Tornado Rocks on the defensive side, just a real, as I said before, you know, a west to east team, a team that really likes to get all the options and get as much information as possible at the beginning. On the attacking side, sorry, and on the defensive side. So yeah, they're actually going to push straight up the 8 line. That's a surprise to me. You can see Coppola going super aggressive at the beginning, wanting to take down Wicked. It's Positive, just cop a shot onto the side of that IS-3.
Let's see.
And they've actually reset. They're not going towards the 8 line. They've got a lot of tanks there which got spotted. Probably learning from their Utopia's mistakes that, you know, okay, so if we get spotted going up the 8 line, let's not go up the 8 lane. That's just dumb. So they got the 5100s heading into the middle, which haven't been spotted so far. So maybe Utopia's thinking, well, they could be on the hill.
Yeah. Let's see how... I'm so curious how Tornado Rocks get around this, because it's quite similar to what Utopia are doing to what they did when they were defending. So I'm interested to see if they can work out a better plan here. And Wilk, oof, he goes down swiftly. That's the Annihilator doing his job there in the IS-3 with the T-37. But so that's given them words, a little bit of freedom here. Gaven them. Lord Gaben them. 5 minutes and 28 on the board though. Where's their next move for Tornado Rocks?
They've got that one tank on the hill, so if they can keep Utopia in that D-line, that tank on the hill can just absolutely punish them. But so far they're not taking the bait. He's just waiting there. Finally just does head towards the D-line, realizing maybe he can do some damage there. But you can still see most of the Tornado Rocks' tanks up towards that right side, the 8 line. But in my opinion, I mean, they still got their tier 6 alive. So they've got a lot of options. They can go on the hill with the tier 6. It's still great with a tier 8. They can also put the tier 6 in the cap, the 1 cap, and then have the IS-3 in E1. So there's all these kind of options for them. But it does look like they are committing slowly but surely towards the 8 line. But I think they're more discussing of what they really want to do.
Yeah, actually, positive. Getting taken a little low there by McMoney. Needs to be careful. Doesn't want to give up too much yet. 2 more seconds. He'll have a shell to be made.
Seconds.
21 seconds to go. Right, I've got a list, Bolly. Leave me alone. God.
Sorry.
All these years. Anyway, Tornado Rocks.
You got a stutter?
You got a stutter, mate.
I got a stutter.
It's all falling apart now, isn't it? We're trying to be professional, and then, I don't know, I had to cast social media, and it's backfired. But it does look like they are making their move, and it is towards the kind of northwest side. They wouldn't maybe single out that IS-3. They're taking map control at Tornado Rocks, quite slowly, though.
Oh, but Mucker is actually there on the side. He might cop the Annihilator to the Armageddon by surprise, but they do actually get the shots without receiving too much themselves.
Well, they're getting a little bit now, though. That's a little bit dangerous. Shock is possibly in trouble. He's holding his own. Negative has to be cautious, though. That's 2 tanks against him. The T-37 is going to cause that little bit of nuisance damage. Zik going very low. McMoney there serving that one up on a plate, but carefully done, Tornado Rocks. Keeping the HP not too far away from the opponent, but still on a knife's edge. But around the back, Vorsic wanting to get into the battle here, and it looks like they want to start partnering McMoney. He's going to be the first on the chopping board. The Annihilator will not miss that shot. Vital, but achieved. And now Utopia need to keep things back in their favor. Utopia are going to start struggling if they don't keep these boys at bay.
Yeah, I think actually Mucker got caught by surprise by Vorsic, so he couldn't actually engage onto those 2 IS-3s. They might be on reload as well. But Shokyu does come in response, so Tornado Rocks haven't quite got themselves out of the woods yet.
No, but look at Zik. He's been surrounded. That's 3 tanks to 1. He's going to go down here. Muka has a great angle towards the Armageddon and positive, but can he make the shots in time? He's got positive low. He's down to a 1-shot. The Annihilator takes a shell from the side as well as Utopia keep this one in check, and no one's turning the tide so far for Tornado Rocks. The Armageddon a little out of the battle here. Finally gets one towards Muka, but just staying alive. Negative as well. Fairly quiet, sitting almost not full HP, but sailing towards the higher echelons here. And HP starting to dwindle for Tornado Rocks.
And Vorsic has done total zilch this battle. He's just been heading up that hill the whole time, and basically Potomaka got 3 shots into his back, took him down to a 1-shot, so he's really not being particularly useful right now. But Bishu, big mistake from him, does secure the Armageddon a kill, and maybe Tornado Rocks this match.
That could be such an error if they've just let that slip of one player's individual error. Look at Negative slowly but surely creeping forward. The Armageddon with Papa keeping him busy. Oh, a Negative finds Shock. This is going from bad to worse for Utopia. They're down to 3 players against the 4 of Tornado Rocks, but who's going to come out on top here? Positive's low, so is Muka. 1 shell between each other. The Armageddon waiting on his shot. Papa has his, but Negative comes around. Vorsic finds Muka finally getting into the battle here as Papa knows his number's up. He knows it's time to go as Armageddon closes down as it's just Potomako. They had it all going for them, and one error gifts it over towards Tornado Rocks.
Yeah, Bishu going down, and then Negative just going, yeah, okay, I can actually push around to shock you once I came off reload. It just opened it all up in a second, and fantastic work from Tornado Rocks. So the Armageddon doing 3,000 damage that battle. You know, he was playing that central area so well, making up for Zik basically getting taken down very early on for,
the lack of
0 damage Zik did this whole battle. Zilch. And the lack of Vorsic as well. I mean, that guy basically, you know, dragged his team kicking and screaming to the scoreline.
Nicely done. As you can see here, Negative slowly crept up towards Shock, and piece by piece, once Bishu fell, it all fell apart. Every angle became weaker. Everything had a downside, and that's the effect of having one player just overreach or make an error. Yeah,
I mean, again, Tornado Rocks just being so fantastic, and it's actually a mark of a good team where even when they're down, they can see their opening and they can come back and win it. It really is a mark of a team that is getting better and being fantastic, you know, coming from A series and getting their way to second is one of the unheard of things in the WGLU, in the WGL in general. Like, that never happens, where they actually contesting for first place against a tried and tested team. So great work. But Utopia predicted scoreline 5-2. They lived up to it. A lot of close rounds from them. Ruhenberg especially impressive, but their statistics from Himmelsdorf proved to be right, especially on the attacking side. They just didn't provide us anything of merit.
Yeah, so let's give you guys a recap of today's games in case you missed them. Of course, there was 3 fantastic games today. And, well, it's Super Week as ever, and there you go. You like seeing that. Yeah, exactly. The 5-2s in the right sides as well. We've had a lot of 5-2s.
So sexy.
But it's nice having it all together. So Supreme 5-2 Kazna. Penta went on towards Facing No Mercy and picked up the victory. And as you just saw, Tornado Rocks besting Utopia once again 5-2.
Yeah, so a great day of games. I think we could potentially say that this was the expected results from them all.
Yes.
I think if Kazna Crew had really bothered in that match, they could have had a closer result.
Yes.
Could have been a different result, and they could have won against Team Supreme. But Penta, No Mercy, great result for them. And of course, the Rocks keeping themselves up in that second place convincingly. Yeah,
Supreme also edging ahead, of course, and keeping anyone else at some form of distance, picking up that victory over Utopia as well. So a lot of results have come down today, and Melly, the people at home, as ever, they know what's up.
Beautiful, just beautiful. They all got it right. I mean, they got all 3 matches right. And of course, for this match, it was really cool to see that first S set 12 to 15, maybe 20 people set 5-2 only for the sake of it and got it right. So congratulations in this case. And the fastest 3 will be, of course, rewarded with bonus codes. That also works for the other matches and their votes, of course. Thank you very much for getting involved that much today. And we also have a cool thing that I would just want to show for last time, because we stopped doing Photoshop, we stopped doing Paint. Lauren, you have to maybe open it for me. We're now onto GIFs, Ollie. How do you feel about it?
As long as you make a GIF of Mitch's brilliant blue steel face yesterday, I'm totally happy about it.
No, like absolutely self-made. Look at this.
Can someone please make a GIF of Mitch doing his blue steel? It was on yesterday's VOD at 1 minute and 54 and 20 or 30 seconds. Make a GIF of that.
So good.
Or GIF.
Look at this.
It's quite impressive.
Beyond
it's really quite
impressive.
impressive.
It is good, actually.
Whoever took the time to do that.
Paul is awesome.
Fantastic.
He always contributes amazing fan art. Continue doing it. Thank you very much. You're a vital part of our community. And if you guys want to get involved as well, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow our YouTube channel to find those VODs Ollie just mentioned. And of course, don't forget to follow our Twitch channel. You don't have to subscribe. It's free.
Melly's just always after your money. Subscribe to Melly.
I don't even have a subscribe button. I'm not famous enough.
No.
Oh.
I did an Outlast stream once, 6 hours straight.
You should get a
That was
sub.
a big,
I remember
that was
that.
a big
I remember
You used to
mistake.
cast Counter-Strike, didn't you? Back in the day.
Oh,
used to
that's
play a
really,
little bit as
really
well.
far away.
Yeah.
Play,
Long time ago.
cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the
That
days,
was
Melly
good
was a
times.
someone.
Good times, man.
Back in
good
the day,
times.
Melly was a person, and she was popular.
Come
About
on.
20 years ago.
Now I'm just sitting here with you guys, right?
Yay! All right, guys, let's talk about tomorrow's games, of course, because it's Super Week. We are not done just yet. Tomorrow, you have the wonder of watching Synergy up against Wusa, Strong CM against First Pro. Who knows where that one's going to go? ASAP and against Ding. So, actually, if Strong turn up, that could be quite an interesting game.
It should be. It's going to be the best game of the day, in my opinion. If Virtus Pro actually stay good, I think it'll be Virtus Pro's game, but Strong's team have been strong. Well,
guys, it's been a pleasure bringing you today's Playday, and of course it's Super Week, so it's not going to be, a mile away. It's tomorrow that you get some more tank action, so if you want to be notified, I've dropped my pen. Hit that button down below. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. Don't throw your pens around. That's why you shouldn't have a pen on air. It's bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, you should follow down below. As the producer yells at Melly or me, I'm not sure what. It doesn't matter. Guys, hit that follow button down below. You'll be notified whenever we go live, and it'll be at the same time tomorrow because it's Super Week and we like tanks. So guys, hopefully see you then.